Just let me stare into those eyes of yours. Oh, yeah. You're beautiful to me. You're beautiful to me. You're beautiful. You're beautiful to me.
What's up, guys? Welcome to BeatsofMind. For this week, I'm really excited. I have my dude BOWTYE. Yeah, man. I love for you to just tell the people who you are and what you do.
All right. So my name is BOWTYE. It's spelled BOWTYE. So basically, it's Bowtie with a Y. Sometimes people go, how do you say that? So yeah, so it's Bowtie with a Y. And it's all together. There's no space. But I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm for better words, a collective artist because I produce, songwrite, rap here and there, and sing primarily. But I like saying that I'm just an artist, not just a producer, because I feel like artist encompasses producer, sort of, as well. So I do everything, but I like to just say that I'm an artist.
Hell yeah, man. Is there one particular, medium of art you enjoy the most, like singing or producing in particular?
That's a great question. I used to struggle with which one I like more as far as the composition side because producing, you're really making something up from scratch, and it's kind of the same thing with singing and stuff, but you still have a beat to kind of work with.
Right.
And I was kind of I don't know which one I like more. When my friends and family would ask me that, but I think production edges it out a little bit.
Okay, damn.
Between that and actually creating, singing and rapping and things like that. So I kind of like production more because it's really ground zero. You have nothing most times.
Yeah, man.
Kind of, create from there.
Yeah. I've been playing around with Ableton a little bit, and it's just the amount of stuff you can do. It's almost overwhelming at a point, you know? It's
It is. It is very, yeah. There's some days where I sit down and literally I'll have to find a sound to give me life and inspiration to create from it. Sometimes I'm just I don't really know what to do here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And then I'll hear something and I'm and then it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
It's actually, yeah.
So do you mainly get inspiration from hearing other artists and their songs? Where does that inspiration kind of come from?
It's ironically enough, I don't really listen to a lot of music.
Yeah.
Because what happens is I feel like what makes me so different is the fact that I'm trying to pull it from a place that's not inspired so much. So with what's out already, I feel like the best artists who are in the game now and have a lot of longevity, I think they all kind of get to a point where they kind of step back for a little bit and just try to get inspiration from things that you wouldn't expect. I'll be driving down the road and I'll see a car, right? Or I'll hear my tire will start squeaking or something like that. And it'll make a funny rhythm.
Right.
And then that'll inspire me to sing something in my phone or think of a rhythm and kind of beatbox it in my phone and record it and then come home and then try to figure out how to describe that musically. So try to get inspiration from random, the most random things. I had a conversation with my mom, and she said something, and the way she said it, it almost sounded like she was singing. And I was like, "Oh, say that one more time." And she said it again. Then I made a song from it.
That's tight.
Yeah.
So
it's sweet.
Is it because it's so random? I guess is it hard sometimes? If you haven't put something out in a while and you're trying to make new music, can that be is it hard to kind of push that natural inspiration almost?
It is. I think with music being so oversaturated now, and the fact that we live in a world where creativity is kind of stifled by being relevant, that it's hard to. It's really easy to conform. Yeah. So when I hear something that I like on the radio, or I hear something like, because my friends will be like, "Yo, check this out," and I'll be like, "Yeah, yeah." And if I'm in the middle of an idea or a song, it frustrates me sometimes because then I'm like, "Ooh, that would sound good,"
Yeah.
that chord structure sounds amazing, and how they put the little nuances in there, and then so it starts affecting like, that. So like, um, it's a struggle, but like, I feel like it. I feel like once the idea is like you get into that rhythm, like it's gonna work itself out.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, normally when I'm trying not to be like last year. Last year started really well, and then like I sat on a lot of music and I shouldn't have. I think so. Like this year, I'm starting to make sure that I'm consistent with music so that that doesn't happen. Like
Right.
I don't get kind of like complacent.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So, what do you, or like, out of all the songs that you pushed out, all the music that you've made, is there
Mm-hmm.
one particular like song or project that's like especially special to you and that you're especially proud of?
Yeah, and actually, it's on private on my SoundCloud because
Oh, damn.
yeah, and it was the first project that I did actually, and I put on SoundCloud. That was back in like 2010. Jeez, ooh, man.
I know time
And
flies, right?
yeah, time flies. So like the name of the project is Cold War, and that was when I wanted to start taking music seriously,
Hmm.
and what happened was I was like, I'm gonna make this thing top to bottom, like completely everything, mix and master it, and just try my best to make it sound as good as possible, right? And when that process was crazy, and I felt like because that was the first time I had ever felt like I was doing like an album or like something where it actually meant something, and I actually put time and effort into it more so than anything else. When I was finished with it, I was like, yes, this is it. I played it for my friends. You need to put it on SoundCloud. Mind you, that I didn't know what. I was like, oh. So I put it on SoundCloud and like kind of like I spammed it horribly. I spammed it, but like, and like people actually kind of liked it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is cool. It sucks now, but it doesn't suck per se, but like the artist in me is like it sucks because I
Compared to
like
like your progression now looking back, yeah.
yeah. So like people will listen to it, and that's one of the reasons why I took it down, but I kept it on there. So like the more my career furthers, and the more my base builds and things, I'll be able to kind of present that back and be like, hey, look at this. Like this is where I started from.
Okay, damn.
I play it a lot just in case. I need to make sure that I remember and kind of keep that same energy because that was a really fun time.
Yeah,
And,
man. That's
it's just,
tight. That's really cool. I can only imagine what that process was like putting out your like making your first like, real project that's special to you. Must have
right.
been like countless hours and like
Oh yeah, man. I have videos and things. I'm gonna try to do like a documentary or something
Hell yeah.
because I had people record, come over, and like we would talk about things, and they'd watch me like make different things, and like there's a lot of stuff. Like I just got to put it together.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You know.
Like I'd also love to get your thoughts. I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but like, with I guess just technology and how like easy it is to make music now, like the music game has definitely been like pretty oversaturated.
Right.
And like on SoundCloud especially and stuff, like you hear
Right.
like a million remixes of the same songs and like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would just love to get your thoughts on like the music space today and like as an artist trying like coming up, like what are some of like the biggest struggles that you've been facing?
Um. Honestly, the I think the main struggle is being heard, and not
Hmm.
necessarily where people think, oh, people are not listening or ignoring you, which is the case sometimes. But the reason why I feel like it's the most difficult thing is because you can't quantify uh, making people or getting people to listen to you. So
Right.
the music game is so oversaturated, and people have so much to choose from
Yeah.
that even when they like a song, it's hard for them, I think, to come back to that artist because it's like, oh, okay, most of y'all sound the same, and I have a homeboy that plays. That does beats and is a artist and wants me to consume their music too,
Right.
and they're familiar. So people like familiar. People like to be humans. We have habits, right? So like we form a habit, and it's hard for us to break that habit. So like whatever is like normal, people will stay with. So like they'll listen to the radio or build a playlist and play that playlist until the wheels fall off. Or something happens and one of the songs disappear. For example, one of my former students, because I teach music, so one of my former students, there was a song, it's called On and it was on Apple Music, and then it was taken off of Apple Music, and it was on her playlist, right? And that's like her everyday
her jam. She gets on,
So he hit me up and was like, "Dude, where's the song at? Like, I can't function. Like, this is not right. I can't." And I'm like, "I'll send you the song. That's fine. Don't worry about it." But she was like, "No, because it's not on my playlist. I need it on my playlist." I'm like, "Well, you got to figure that out. Okay,
right?
It's not me.
Yeah.
Okay? Not me." So yeah, I think between that and just being original.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's really hard.
Yeah, like every other day you have a new artist that's being broken, and some of them have the exact same image, which is fine, but then you have celebrities that'll jump on whatever is different, and like whether it be fashion or whatever the case, whatever the fad is, and it's hard for new artists or people discovering artists, to have their own identity without it being mistaken by a different artist.
Right.
So like with the whole singing and rapping, right? So everybody kind of does it, and now you have singers that rap too. So it's hard to differentiate yourself, from everyone else, and that's what people are looking for. They want you to be different.
Right. But
man.
like to that point, I think though there's like this weird line almost where they want you to be different, but like not too different or like not too weird, and it's like. I don't understand that because, if you're asking someone to like be creative in themselves, like they should be that to like the T, like they shouldn't have to limit that. And like, I can already see some artists, like they put out like their debut album and like blows up, right? And their next album, it becomes almost like what the people want to hear, not why people love them in the first place,
Right.
And
yeah,
like,
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So like, definitely like this like weird relationship almost with like trying to be yourself, but also trying to like please everyone else.
Please other people. Yeah, man. And that's I think that trumps everything else too. It's like when I'll give you an example. Okay. I put out music that's all over the spectrum.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Until I sat down and was like, how can I get people to like, because my wife, she was telling me, she was like, you're so far ahead that when you put out a song and it's different, and then you put out another song a month later and it's a totally different timbre, people have to catch up. Yeah, like they don't know which, like you have to give it time for people to catch up to the fact that, hey, you might jump on a song that sounds like this, and then you go all the way over to the other spectrum. And
it's like, who is BOWTYE almost again,
Right, exactly. Yeah. So like, she was like, if you're going to do that, that's great, but you got to put it in a medium where people understand that you're going to be all over the place. Okay? And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because like I would just be song to song. And I'm like, come on, guys, like this is like, come on. And they're like, well, we can enjoy this.
Yeah.
Give us some time to enjoy this and be like, oh my God, this is dope, before you switch it all the way to the left and come out with something great. So like I'm trying to, that was the point of this project. I guess we'll talk about that in a second. But like trying to put music on a spectrum and let that spectrum flow from light to dark, as opposed to being, hey, it's bright neon pink and then it's super dark blue. Like,
so like almost like a progression of a story almost that like kind of wraps everything together.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So,
yeah. That's dope, man. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to hear like is like a new album in the works right now that you're putting together, or like what's coming out that's like new for you?
Well, I was working on this project called Cool Flex. And
cool what?
It was pretty much finished. Cool Flex.
Cool Flex?
Yeah. And it was almost done. It was pretty much done. I had to do maybe one or two things, and I stopped working on it because I didn't feel like it was I didn't feel like it was ready as far as like it was the same process I had when I was talking about the Cold War project, because normally I'll be almost finished with it and I'm listening to it every day and I'm just trying to be like, it's not the right timing as far as like, you know, where music is right now and like how I feel people will like reciprocate it if they listen to it right now. Like what feelings would I get, you know, or would people be able to understand where I'm coming from with this project? So what I did was I kind of put that to the side, and I came up with an idea called the Shapes and Colors playlist. So, and this is cool because this is probably going to like run throughout my whole career until like I die at a very old age, like 258, because by that point we'll have bionic bodies. So we'll probably be immortal. So, you know, you just turn off for a few years.
I mean, I can't wait for that.
I can't wait either.
That Black Mirror stuff.
Yeah. So this is something that I can just keep putting stuff in. And I got an artist, as far as like a visual artist, to Prez. He's going to help me as far as like doing all the visual stuff. So it's all in one medium. As far as I don't want to with it. I want it to be structured because I have a problem with being random. So Shapes and Colors basically is what I was saying before. So the shape of the songs will be different as far as like normally songs go A, B, A, C, which means verse, hook, verse, bridge, hook, right? So I want to mess with that. So like I have songs coming out that go like the one that just dropped, Dangerous. It's kind of like a vamp hook.
Yeah, dude, I fuck with that song heavy.
Yeah, so like it's different. Like,
yeah.
So you have that. So that's the shape of the song, right? And then you have the color. So the color of the song, like, would be the essence or like the mood of the song. So Dangerous and a song like Paranoia would be lighter on the spectrum because it's more bouncy and fun and energetic. And Dangerous is a little bit more serious, a little bit more dark, moody, you know, with a little bounce to it, of course, because I love the bounce.
Oh, yeah.
Feels good. So, like, that concept will allow me to just shape and color different songs differently. And, like, what I have lined up now, like, is I have a bunch of songs lined up to just keep, like, having consistent music out while I work on Cool Flex. I don't know if I'm gonna release it or not. I don't know. It's just I feel like I was told something by Monty Love of Selection.
Hell yeah. Shout out Selection.
And you know, he told me that, you know, essentially people need to be comfortable with me before, you know, they start to kind of buy in, which is the truth. And he was like, you need to build your body of work as far as like singles and things like that, so people can see, you know, and kind of almost like with people like Drake, his fans kind of grew up with him. They had the song and he started releasing singles, and they just kind of were like growing with him until they demanded, like, you need to do a project now.
Right.
And once you get that demand, then at that point, it's like now you can hit it with all the projects that you already have lined up.
You hit it on the nail.
Because they're wanted at that point. And I see it now. I have people like, you know, as I'm putting out more music, it's like, oh man, like I've been, you know, I've liked this song, or, you know, I've been a fan since this song or this song. And it's like, all right, cool. Like now you're with me. You know what I'm saying? Like now like people are starting to be like, yes, like, okay, and I'm building this momentum. So I'm like, all right, let me just keep, you know, putting out nice, amazing music, so that people can see the range and like the dynamic of like my music and my musicianship and artistry. And of course, they'll want more of it.
Exactly.
Because I interludes too. Because I don't really like 3-minute songs. I like 2:45-ish. So
yeah.
You know, like just because it does something to people. It's like, oh, it's not long enough. Well, yeah, so go listen to it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You want to keep them wanting more, you know?
So, it's working, and it's interesting because, like, I have a lot of, like, cool stuff coming out. Like,
hell yeah,
I'm excited. Super excited.
Hell yeah, I'm excited to hear it, dude. But yeah, like, kind of going off that makes me think, like, you know, there's so many kind of artists that have blown up and like they have developed an initial style where people really grew to love them and they almost became like felt like connected to the artist almost. So then when they already have that connection, once they want to be like really creative or put together like an EP that's like way out of what they normally did, the
Mhm.
same fan base will still rock with them because almost at a point it's like I don't know. It's like not even about the music necessarily at a point. It's like their relationship towards the artist and like how they feel towards the artist that makes them really drawn to them and like they'll ride with you no matter what. You know, like no matter how
Right.
weird or
Exactly.
crazy your style gets, like they'll ride with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Definitely. So like I feel like if when people are ready to go on this journey with me, like we'll be able to actually go on it and I won't feel like we were saying earlier, I won't feel stifled to create a certain type of sound because people will know that okay, BOWTYE is random as hell, okay, BOWTYE is gonna be all over the place, but it's gonna come together and just mesh and work. So
Yeah.
like when people, are hip to that, like we'll be able to kind of just, like let's just, like all over the place.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I love to like I really like to ask artists like certain questions about their specific tracks that I like particularly enjoy. And like I think after listening to like a lot of your music, one that really stood out to me and kind of hit me on like a different level was Open Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just like really vibed with it and like the feelings that it made me feel were just like really special. And so I love to hear like your inspiration behind that song and like the process of making it, like, you know, certain things that you remember about that.
Well, I remember like it was funny because my wife and I we were watching what show was that? Okay, we were watching reality TV, and we were watching the show Real Housewives. Crazy, like super random, and like yeah. So like we watch. She loves like reality TV.
Yeah.
I watch with her. So like we were watching the show, and on this particular episode, one of the ladies was talking about domestic violence,
Hmm.
and they were going back and forth about it, and she was like, she said something to the effect that she was like trapped in a cage, like, and she didn't know how to get out, I think, or something like that, or she alluded to that. So like, after that episode, I thought about, I was kind of riding, in my car sometimes. Like I'll get like inspiration, like I said earlier, just random stuff. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, there's not a lot of songs or that I know of, that really kind of talk about, being in a relationship and not knowing necessarily how to get out of it, and feeling like, feeling like it's you and it's your fault, and kind of like people being like pressured into staying, but the pressure is them. So like
Right.
when the song starts like you and I, only you and I, that's more so like a declaration to the person. I didn't want to write the song in a tense where it was like I'm talking and it's a male perspective, or I'm reflecting on a female perspective, but more so a general perspective, so that anybody can take the words and be able to kind of translate to their situation, whether it's them in the situation or them reflecting on the situation that they were in.
Hmm.
So like when I wrote it, um, I tried to make sure that I didn't put any like or I didn't put any like him and her, or, things that would make it seem like it's just the situation, but more of like a figurative, idea where people can kind of draw inspiration from their own situations. So like when I wrote it, I thought about, situations where, in my past I've been in relationships feeling guilty that, even though I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, or, it's my fault somehow. And I don't really know how to go. Like her, she didn't really know how to leave. Most
Right.
people don't know how to just be like, you know what? I'm just going to like say, whatever and just get out of this. It's hard for people to get out of it. So, like, that's the whole, being trapped, in it. And then as soon as I'm trying to leave, the person cuts your wings, knowing that would be your way to escape, whether that be, saying things that would make you feel like, oh, well, maybe we could work it out, and that's like cutting your wings where, they know that if you would try to fly away after that, it would be nearly impossible for you to do it. Damn. So like, just, going into that, and trying to convey that, I just wrote it out. It was actually over another beat that I got from Hans, and the funny thing about that is I kind of put the roads together randomly, and I was like, oh, this sounds kind of good because I had already recorded it, and I was like, let me see if it'll work. So I changed the key, and it just kind of came together after that. But like that song is really dear to me because like I feel like a lot of people can get something from it,
Yeah, man.
And that's the whole point of music. You're supposed to get something from it. So yeah, that's one of my favorites too. Like I really like went in on that song, I
think. That's super cool because like you hear a lot about like these big, I guess, like pressing issues that people make songs about, and like something that's overlooked though is exactly that, right? Like people being trapped in a relationship, and it doesn't like, yes, like domestic abuse is obviously like terrible and it should never happen, but like even deeper than that, like a lot of people feel trapped like emotionally and not necessarily physically. And like that's something that's so overlooked and kind of like put under the rug that I think it's super dope that like you're standing up for issues that aren't always talked about, and always noticed. And to like get that inspiration from the Real Housewives of, like that's super dope to me that you can find inspiration from like the smallest stuff, and like you never know when it's gonna come.
Thank you. It's always random. Like you'd be surprised, man. Like you could walk past, like we walk past like someone and they're having a conversation about like, or they're arguing about something. You can kind of hear bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And then, oh, okay. You know what? I need to. Yeah. And then it'll just
go.
Happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Cool. I feel like more people need to write about that. Like when I listen to the radio, rarely, and I hear all of the songs, it's always from a "you hurt me, I hurt you" perspective, right? And like I feel like the reason why people, or there hasn't been someone who's kind of come to the forefront as far as like an artist being broken. Like one of my favorite new artists is Daniel Caesar, right? Oh, yeah. He's good. He's very soulful, very open, very vulnerable,
good,
right? And what I like about his music is that he's starting to try to, of course, get that analog sound back, but like he's trying to kind of push the envelope forward as far as like let's be more descriptive. Let's not be, because everything is so like cut and dry. Let's be more figurative. Let's be more, let's not be so like ABC 1 2 3. Like there's a time for that. That's good, but like I feel like no one's really painting pictures. I feel like he paints pictures, and like he uses his words almost like a Marvin Gaye or like or a what's his name, Stevie Wonder, like Superstition. That's an amazing song, and it's not something that you would think that someone would talk about, like, right. Or how he kind of uses it to play off what he plays off of, like that. Songs like that, that's what I love doing. Songs like that. That's why songs like Open Sky and things are really important to me, because like it's not so surface. It's very, you have to read into it a little bit and kind of come up with your own understanding, and you can apply it to like your life. Like I love songs like this.
Yeah, man. I feel like for artists, like it's not super difficult to just like talk about a subject and like touch on it, right? But to really be able to make someone think about it in a way that they never thought about it before, paint like a completely new picture about it, like that's, I don't know, like if I was an artist, that is what would like really inspire me, to know that, I didn't just touch on it, but I really influenced someone's thinking about it, someone's, like opinion about it. And like, yeah. And like, I think what hits deeper is not just like hearing, about like domestic abuse in a song, but hearing about a song that isn't specifically like blaring out domestic violence, but
Yeah.
that's sinking in and you going through the process of letting it sink in, like
Right.
that impacts you forever. You know, like one song
Yeah.
lyric, it'll go in one year out the next. But like if you make someone feel what you're saying in like in a deeper way, like that sticks. And like people don't forget that. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to make music like that.
Yeah, man. I can feel it. I can definitely feel it.
Yeah, like of course we'll have fun, and even it's funny because some of my songs, like people will be like, they'll listen to it, and then they won't realize the little gems and things that I put in there until later on. It's like, oh wait, you said this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Like I'm like, yeah, man, like you gotta listen to it a couple times, and then you'll hear what I'm saying. You don't normally hear what a genius artists, you won't hear what they're saying the first time you listen to their song.
Never.
That's so dope.
That's so true.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
It's so dope.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I feel you on that. It's cool though. It's like one of my favorite things about doing this in general is just like obviously being able to meet dope people, but also after I speak to artists, like you, like Najee, like etc., and like after listening to you guys talk about specific tracks, I go back and I listen to them again, and it's like my mind is like, it's just like I don't know to like get both those takes on like not understanding what the artist meant, and then like really getting a good insight into it. It's like it's super dope, and it's like one of my favorite parts about doing this. So
yeah, people really think I don't think people in general, like the fan, I don't think sometimes they realize like how much we like nitpick. Like I'll sit here and just be like, the song is dope, but it's just one line that just doesn't make the story flow in my mind. Like I gotta get, and then as soon as I get it, now I piece it. It's like a puzzle or like a code.
Hell yeah.
Piece together, and when you hear it, it's like I know you're not really gonna hear it the first time. You're gonna like it, but then when you go back and you hear it for the first time, it's like, whoa.
Like when you really hear it.
Like,
yeah.
Paranoia is just, it's so that people they're not seeing the message.
Right.
Like,
and you actually sit down, you like really listen to it, you're like, oh.
Right. Yeah, it's like, man, like this is actually talking about something. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's hell yeah, man. Let me just check on that. All right. Well, cool. I honestly don't want to take up too much of your time. But like if you have, I'd love to hear like what's next. You have Shapes and Colors and like potentially a new album, is that right? Or like what can people expect to hear from you next? And
so Shapes and Colors is gonna be here forever. So like I'm gonna try to release either one or two songs, like a full song and like an interlude a month. Because I want people to be able to like I have a song that's coming out. It's called Quicksand, and it's a short interlude, and it's one of those like it reminds me of Open Sky. So there's so much emotion behind it, and when I sung it, I try to express those emotions and just the name kind of says itself, and the artwork just got finished and he killed it. So like that's coming out super soon, and Dangerous will be out on all platforms hopefully in the next like week or two.
Hell yeah.
And then I don't know when Cool Flux will be finished, but I'll have some songs from that dropping shortly. I got one with Domino on the way. I'm excited about that. It's super excited. It's really funky. Trying to wait until it warms up to give y'all a funky sound again. But yeah, so a lot of music, a lot of features coming with different artists, which I'm excited for, and hopefully I can get Kev to sing on something else. Shout out to Kev.
My boy Kev, he's super dope. I got to connect with him a couple months back. That dude's super dope.
Yeah, Kev is like my mentor / he's my engineer / just like my friend, man, and just like
real genuine guy. He's like he's like really really genuine, like just like straight up dude. It's dope.
We need more Kevs. We need more Kevs.
Hell yeah! If you're watching this, Kev,
yeah, I know, right?
Dope, man. Well, thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it, and thanks for joining on.
Anytime, man.
Cool, man. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna stop this recording really